Good morning, students. Today in this video lesson, we will discuss about force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. Then force acting between two parallel current carrying conductors, definition of 1 ampere, and expression for torque experienced by a rectangular current carrying loop in a magnetic field. Let us start our discussion with force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. You can see in the diagram a current carrying conductor of length L. A current carrying conductor of length L is placed along y-axis. Its cross-sectional area is A. It is placed in a magnetic field which acts along z-axis. Now, why this current carrying conductor experiences a force in a magnetic field? So we know that current in a conductor is due to drift of electrons. Free electrons, better to say free electrons. These electrons finds itself in this magnetic field. These electrons finds itself in magnetic field, hence they will experience a force. Sum of the forces acting on all the free electrons gives the value of force acting on a current carrying conductor. So we will write expression for force. We will write force experienced by a free electron. Then it is given by F is equal to minus E Vd cross B. This is the force experienced by a single electron. Now, how many electrons are there in conductor? So let N be the number of electrons per unit volume. Then volume of the conductor, A is the cross-sectional area, L is the length. So volume of the conductor will be A into L. So N into A into L will give you the total number of electrons. So total force on the conductor is sum of all the forces acting on all the free electrons inside the conductor. So this is equal to N into F. Now put the value of N and F, we will get equation 1. Now we know that current in terms of drift velocity is given as I is equal to NEA Vd. Multiply both sides by L. The product of I into L is known as current element and is treated as a vector quantity. Now its direction is along current flowing in the conductor. The direction of current and drift velocity are in opposite directions, so we have to introduce a negative sign here. Now from 1 and 2, the expression of force we get is F is equal to IL cross B, and if we write the magnitude only, it will be F is equal to ILB sine theta. Now, the direction of force can be determined by using either cross product rule or Fleming's left hand rule. According to cross product rule, rotate a right-handed screw in the direction from IL vector to B vector. The direction in which it advances will be the direction of force. You can see in the diagram. This is the direction of IL. This is the direction of B. So if you rotate a right-handed screw from IL to B, it will be anti-clockwise. So it will come out. Direction of force will be along x-axis. Using Fleming's left hand rule, we can also determine the direction of magnetic force on a current carrying conductor, which says that stretch the first finger, the second finger and the thumb of your left hand in such a way that they are perpendicular to each other. Now keep the first finger in the direction of magnetic field, second finger in the direction of current flowing in the conductor, then thumb will give you the direction of force acting on the current carrying conductor. We can apply this rule in the above situation and find out the direction of magnetic force. Now, special cases. When a conductor is placed parallel or anti-parallel to magnetic field. So when a conductor is placed parallel to magnetic field, theta will be 0, sine 0 is equal to 0. When it is placed anti-parallel to magnetic field, theta is 180 degrees, sine 180 is 0. So in both these situations, no force will be experienced by the current carrying conductor. So when a current conductor is placed either parallel or anti-parallel to magnetic field, it will not experience any force. When placed at right angle to magnetic field, theta is 90 degrees, sine 90 is equal to 1, which is the maximum value of theta. So force experienced will be maximum and it is equal to ILB. Thus, when a current carrying conductor is placed at right angle to magnetic field, it experiences maximum force. Now, let us discuss about force between two infinitely long parallel current carrying conductor. Here, figure shows the two current carrying conductor X1 Y1 and X2 Y2. They are carrying current I1 and I2. They are separated through a distance R. Now we know that a current carrying conductor produces magnetic field around itself. One fact. Another fact is when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So the first current carrying conductor X1 Y1 finds itself in the magnetic field produced by the second conductor X2 Y2, hence experiences a force. So magnetic field produced by X2 Y2 near the conductor X1 Y1 is equal to B2 is equal to mu naught I2 by 2 pi R. Now direction of magnetic field B2 can be determined by using cross product rule. So this is the direction of ideal. This is the direction of R. So if you rotate a right-handed screw from ideal to R, it will be clockwise. So it will go inside. So direction is perpendicular to the plane of the paper and pointing downward. So this is the direction of B2. Now the current carrying conductor X1 Y1 finds itself in the magnetic field B2. So it experiences a force. So F12 is the force acting per unit length on the first conductor due to second current carrying conductor. F12 is equal to I1, current flowing in the conductor. Its length is unit, so 1 meter. It is present in magnetic field B2, so B2. Now F12 is equal to I1, put the value of B2, you will get F12 as mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r. And using Fleming's left hand rule, we can find out its direction. It will come as towards conductor X2 Y2. Similarly, the conductor X2 Y2 finds itself in the magnetic field produced by the conductor X1 Y1. So here B1 is the magnetic field produced by X1 Y1 near the conductor X2 Y2. So this B1 is equal to mu naught I1 by 2 pi r, and its direction. So this is the direction of ideal. This is the direction of R. So ideal cross R, it will be anti-clockwise, so it will come up. So direction of magnetic field B1 is perpendicular to the plane of the paper and pointing upward. Now force acting per unit length on conductor X2 Y2 due to magnetic field produced by conductor X1 Y1. So this force F21 is equal to I2, current flowing in the conductor, length ILB sine theta, so L is 1 meter. It finds itself in the magnetic field B1 and length of the conductor is 1 meter. Substituting the values, you will get F is equal to mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r. And using Fleming's left hand rule, its direction is along X1 Y1. Thus F12 is equal to F21 is equal to mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r, or if we multiply numerator and denominator by 2, we get mu naught 2 I1 I2 by 4 pi r. Hence we find that the two parallel current carrying conductors carrying current in same direction attract each other. Similarly, we can also show that two parallel current carrying conductors carrying current in opposite direction repel each other. This expression is used to define 1 ampere. Let us see how. If I1 is equal to I2 is equal to 1 ampere and R is equal to 1 meter, then F is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton per meter. So 1 ampere may be defined as current flowing through two parallel infinitely long conductor is said to be 1 ampere if they attract or repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton per meter when placed at 1 meter distance from each other. The same may also be written as when two infinitely long current carrying conductor placed at unit distance apart attract or repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 power minus 7 Newton per meter, then current flowing through each of them is said to be of 1 ampere. So with this our second topic comes to an end. Then the last topic of this video lesson is torque on a current carrying loop placed in a magnetic field. Now figure shows a current carrying conductor A, B, C, D placed in a magnetic field such a way that plane of the such a way that normal to the plane of the coil makes an angle theta with the magnetic field. So here you can see that this is the normal to the plane of the coil, this is the direction of magnetic field, angle between them is theta. Here A is the breadth of the coil and B is the length of the coil. Now we will find out the force experienced by the four arms of the current carrying conductor in the magnetic field. So let us find out force acting on the arm AD first. FAD, force on arm AD of length A. So you know that force is ILB sine theta. So I, current flowing the conductor on the arm AD, A is its length, B is the magnetic field, and angle between them is, this is the direction of IDL, this is the direction of B, this angle is 90 and this one is theta, so total angle is 90 plus theta. Sin 90 plus theta is cos theta. So force is IAB sin 90 plus theta, which is equal to IAB cos theta, and its direction is in upward direction. This you can see here. This is the direction of IDL. This is the direction of B. So when we rotate a right-handed screw from IDL to B, it will be anti-clockwise, so it will come up. So this will be the direction of FAD. Now force on arm BC. Force on arm BC. This is the direction of IDL and this is the direction of magnetic field. This angle is 90, so here it will be 90 minus theta. So the value of force is IAB sin 90 minus theta, which is equal to IAB cos theta, and using Fleming's left hand rule or cross product rule, we can find out the direction of this force. It will be, this is the direction of IDL, this is the direction of B. So when we rotate a right-handed screw from IDL to B, it will be clockwise, so it will go down. So this will be the direction of force FBC. Now force on the arm AB. Force on the arm AB is equal to IB capital B magnetic field. Small b is the length of the conduct arm AB. Angle between them is 90 degree. So this is IB into B sin 90 and its direction this is the direction of IL and this is the direction of B. So IL cross B anti-clockwise, it is towards the reader. And similarly, force on the arm CD is equal to I BB sine 90 and direction will be, this is the direction of IL and this is direction of B. So IL cross B clockwise, so it will be downward. It is perpendicular to the plane of the paper and pointing downward. So the force FAD and FBC are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, having same line action, same line of action of force. Such pair of forces cancels each other, whereas the force FAB and FCD are equal in magnitude, opposite in direction, having different line of action. Such pair of forces exerts torque and causes rotational motion in the object, that is produces turning effect. So torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance between the pair of forces. So you can see in the diagram, this is one force FAB and this is another force FCD. This is the distance. This is the direction of magnetic field normal to the plane. This angle is theta. So this angle here, this will be your theta. Angle between the two sides is equal to angle between the perpendiculars on the two sides. So this is perpendicular to this side, this is perpendicular to this side. So angle between them is equal to angle between the perpendiculars. So this angle is theta. So this side will be your A sine theta, which is the perpendicular distance between the line of action of the two forces. So force is IB into B, perpendicular distance between them A sine theta. So here we get I small a into small b. This gives you the area of the rectangular coil. So this will be IAB sine theta, and product of I into A is known as magnetic moment. So it is MB sine theta. In terms of vector notations, we can write it as M cross B. Now, important points regarding torque. Though we have derived equation for a rectangular loop, but it holds equally good for planar loop of any shape and size. Second thing, if the direction of magnetic field makes an angle alpha with the plane of the loop, then theta plus alpha is 90 degree. Theta is equal to 90 minus alpha. Sin theta is sin 90 minus alpha. That is sin theta is equal to cos alpha. So expression for torque will be IAB cos alpha or MB cos alpha. So if the coil contains n number of turns, it will be simply multiplied by n. With this, we have come to end of this topic. Thank you for watching.